going on, everybody? Welcome back to JellyGoonTv. Welcome back to all my beautiful viewers and subscribers. Of course, welcome back to the gorgeous JellyGoon squad. Today we have another video, but before we get to that, I want to say please do check the social medias down below. Go over and check Discord, be a member of the family, of course. Today we have another video. We're gonna react to the Ratte, the biggest tank ever designed. The Ratte, the biggest tank ever designed. Now this tank is probably gonna be very big, so we're just gonna jump into it and see how big it's gonna be, because I got a feeling that if it's the Germans who made it or something like that, it's gonna be huge. So yeah. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into this video. Let's go.
Mega tank. In the years leading up to World War II,
Wow,
Nazi
that's a huge
Germany
one.
conducted a vast number of projects with the aim of developing new types of weapons that would bring them military supremacy over other nations. The majority of these designs, as true innovations in the field of weapons design, were ahead of their time.
There's no freaking way, bro.
The Germans called them Wunderwaffen, which translates to wonder weapons or miracle weapons. Some of these were successfully deployed to battlefields.
Let me pause here. This is definitely the cannon that I was talking about, the big one, right? The big ass cannon. Like, this mother beep is so freaking big. You have no idea, man. It's very, very big. And the Germans used it, I guess. I don't know where they used it, but they used it to artillery or something. It can shoot, like, it's a big ass cannon, bro. Like, just look at this thing. If they're gonna have a tank like this with a barrel like this is just crazy. It's just impossible. They can't. No. Let's go.
While some progressed no further than the drawing board. Many projects resulted in magnificent machines of war, but many others turned out to be complete failures. The idea of building the largest tank in the history of warfare belonged to the batch of Hitler's wonder weapons. Hitler's army mainly fought on land, and they wanted a tank that would make these land battles easier to win. The main feature of this new tank, its enormous size, surpassed everything made up to that point.
That's crazy,
In
man.
comparison, even the heaviest of tanks would have seemed like toys. Like all dictators of his time, Adolf Hitler was in love with weapons that could show off his military strength. When Hitler was at the peak of his power in 1942, he was presented with an idea to build the largest tank ever devised, designed by Edward Grotte,
Really?
the director of the famous Krupp Company. Hitler was thrilled. The way he saw it, the tank's hair-raising appearance perfectly matched the image of the German army that he wanted to build.
It's crazy, man.
At the time, Porsche had started constructing a 188 metric ton heavy tank called the Maus, which was supposed to be the mighty bellwether of the German panzers. The Maus, however, was nothing compared to its bigger cousin, named the Ratte, or the Rat. The Ratte was part of a land
sounds like a
battleships
big-ass
concept
tank.
that was in research from the 1930s. The pioneering nation in this research was the Soviet Union, with a project known as the TG-5.
Oh, really?
Their idea was to build a multi-engine driven tank weighing 1,000 metric tons and armed with a 107mm main gun and 4 sub-turrets.
Let me pause here. So Russia actually were the first ones to think about a big tank. They wanted a big tank on 2 motors, driving around, shooting everybody. That's actually crazy, Russia. So you can say that Hitler was smart, but the Soviet Union was also smart, man. They thought about the shit, man. They thought about the same things that he thought about. Man, I love Russians sometimes, man. It's just like, this guy really thought about this, and then Russian people always thought about this, but they never really got it. Like Russian people just like, no, we don't need to build it. It's crazy, man, but I love it so much. The CGV, okay.
The engineers working on the project was Edward Grotte.
C-42.
Upon his return to Germany, Grotte brought his own ideas on building a giant tank.
Okay.
He started working as a director of the Krupp Company, and in June 1942, he was given the opportunity to present his ideas to Hitler himself. The Führer showed great enthusiasm for the project and ordered further design studies. Grotte responded with a series of drawings as a base for the future project designated the Landcruiser P1000 Ratte, or Landcruiser P1000 the Rat. Edward Grotte outlined the weight of the Ratte tank to be a staggering 1,000 metric tons. It was an enormous weight compared to any other tank at that time. The latest German tank coming out of the factories, the Tiger I, was only 54 tons.
That's a lot of tons,
Armament
man.
set alone weighed 300 tons. The armor and frame weighed 200 tons, its track and propulsion engines 100 tons, and the rest was the weight of its ammunition and other miscellaneous parts.
Stupidest shit I ever heard in my life.
The thickness of the armor varied from 5.9 to 14.2 inches, or 150 to 360 millimeters. The mammoth weight of the tank was followed by its huge dimensions. The Ratte was projected to be 115 feet or 35 meters long and 46 feet or 14 meters wide. With its gun facing forward, it became 128 feet or 39 meters in length. The height of the tank was 36 feet, or 11 meters, which was proportionate to a 3-story building. The Ratte was so huge that it even had its own lavatory system and a vehicle bay to hold 2 BMW R12 motorcycles, while it was projected to have a crew of 41 men. The dimensions and weight of the tank necessitated it to have very wide tracks to provide the proper distribution of pressure on the ground. The Ratte was designed to have 6 tracks, each one 3.9 feet or 1.2 meters wide, 3 on each side of the chassis. Setting a 1,000-ton monster into motion would have been a challenging task, as it would have required about 12,000 kilowatts or 16,000 horsepower to move the tank. The first choice of propulsion was 2-man V12 Z32-44 24-cylinder diesel engines of 6,300 kilowatts or 8,400 horsepower, which were similar to those already in use by German U-boats. The alternative was to use 8 Daimler-Benz MB501 20-cylinder diesel engines of 1,500 kilowatts
they really
or 2,000
want to get this
horsepower.
on, man.
These engines were used on German E-boats. Both of these solutions were projected to provide a top speed of 25 miles per hour or 40 kilometers an hour.
Shush.
In reality, it would have been unlikely for the tank to achieve that speed due to the likely suspension and transmission problems.
Let me pause here. There are so many problems in this tank that could really occur. Just a minus little technical issue and the whole thing is going to run down. It's going to be destroyed. It's going to be messed up, man. Imagine seeing that in battle. It just rides around, but it's too fat to do anything whatsoever. It is easy if you don't have a lot of infantry behind you. But if this tank gotta stand on its own, the allies or whatever would kill it easily. It's just basically go inside, put some explosive inside, kill the crew, take it for yourself, do whatever you have to do and just explode it, right? The more faster, the more thicker and strong it is, the more slow it is. That's a fact. But this is impossible, man. I don't believe this ever happened, and I believe that they, they failed, definitely failed at this, because I never heard about this. But they did get the big cannon, so that's kind of crazy, but let's go.
The intended armament of the tank was equally as impressive as its appearance. The Ratte was equipped with several types of guns, 2 of which were the main 28-centimeter SK-C-34 naval guns. These guns were developed in the 1930s to be used on Scharnhorst-class battleships. Needless to say, they were extremely powerful. At a distance of 3 miles, the guns were capable of penetrating armor up to 17.7 inches thick. At a maximum elevation of 40 degrees, their range was an incredible 25.6 miles. As an extra gun, the Ratte was armed with a KWK-44 L55 anti-tank gun.
Damn!
There are no records indicating whether this gun was planned to be positioned at the front with the main guns or on a separate turret on the opposite side of the tank. Other armaments included an unknown number of 20mm anti-aircraft guns and 15mm autocannons normally used on German aircraft. The frightening size of the Ratte was the feature on which the entire project was based. Paradoxically, this was the project's main drawback. First of all, there was no tank factory in Germany large enough to be capable of assembling such a huge vehicle armed with naval guns. For that reason, a shipbuilding yard would have been required. Just building a prototype tank would have taken several months, using much of the yard's resources and space. This was a luxury the Germans could not afford at the time. Even if the tank was built, putting it into action would have been a logistical nightmare. Because of its massive weight of 1,000 tons, the Ratte could not have been transferred to battlefields by railway. Using its own propulsion at a speed lower than 25 miles per hour, the Ratte would have taken an eternity to arrive at the front.
Yeah, true.
If it broke down along the way, it would have been impossible to tow, as it would have taken another tank of the same size to accomplish the task. Also, because of its weight, the Ratte could not have used roads or bridges without destroying them.
Exactly.
The only favorable characteristic was the tank's high ground clearance of 6 feet that would have allowed it to simply cross through a river. In the end, the Ratte might have been considered a mighty tank, but it also would have been a remarkably easy target.
Yeah, exactly.
The Ratte's thick armor might have been a challenge for the Allied tanks, but not for the Allied bombers. Despite the heavy armor, it could not have withstood bombardments from the air. Being a gigantic and slow vehicle would have made it a perfect target for aerial attacks. The Ratte was a huge, powerful, but ultimately impractical weapon.
Yeah.
When the idea of building the tank appeared in 1942, the German industry was already overexerted by the war effort. Spending valuable time and resources on building the largest tank in the world would have impeded that same effort for no significant results. That's why the Minister of Armaments, Albert Speer, canceled the project in early 1943 before it even entered their production phase. The Ratte remained just another of Hitler's great fantasies. As German General Heinz Guderian wrote in his autobiography, Hitler's
it's not possible to build,
led
man.
him
It's
into the
definitely
realm
not.
of the gigantic.
Like you said, it's very vulnerable. It's very slow. It's crazy. Amazing. That's a big ass tank. Let me pause there. Amazing video. Really did like it a lot. That's a huge ass tank. I never heard about this tank. Never heard that Hitler wanted to build this big ass tank. Like, this tank is so freaking big that if you saw it, you would think like, what is this? Like, what is this supposed to be? That Marabid would sit duck. Everybody would take a shot at it. Everybody would do everything they could to destroy it. It would be the easiest target you ever seen in your entire life, man. Especially the bombers would definitely hit it. 100%, man. Even the planes and everything like that, they would destroy it. But yeah, anyway, it was a good video. He had many ideas, but they did not really, you know, cohere with the resources and, you know, the reality and everything like that. But he had a mind, like he had a fantasy mind, like he had a crazy mind. He was a crazy guy. But there is smart people and then there's insanity, right? There's not long between each other. So yeah, anyway, that was a great video. Hope you enjoyed too. Please do hit a like on this video. Please also subscribe down below. Please hit the notification on this video in order to, not the video, but the subscription down below. Please hit the notifications so you get updated on newest videos to come to this channel when you become a member of the JellyGoon Squad. Of course, please do subscribe. We're trying to look for 20,000 subscribers, so be massively appreciated if you wanted to support, of course. Anyway, guys and girls, comment down below what you think about this tank. Do you think it was a possibility? Do you think it could be a possibility? What do you think the problems and the good things was about this plan? I know the Soviet Union, they planned it first or something like that, but when the Soviets, they were like, nah, we're not gonna do that. He went to Hitler or something like that. That is, yeah, that is something, man. But comment what you think about below. What if it was in the Soviet Union army? What would you think happened? Could you do it? Could you not? Let me know in the comments down below. Anyway, guys and girls, I'm gonna move on into the next one. Peace.